Humility makes us real, as stated by American poet and social activist Thomas Merton. And India's very own Robin Sharma adds to it as mastery begins with humility. This reality, encompassed in all its simplicity, is Baburajan Gopalan, winner of this year's Pravasi Bharatiya Samman, India's prestigious accolade for non-residents honoring their contributions to the community. A man who has been on the forefront of humanitarian causes, entrepreneur, philanthropist, one of the most respected geotechnical consultants in the Gulf region, and one who has to his credit the experience and expertise of working with iconic projects including the King Fahd Causeway, Aluminium Bahrain, the Bahrain Financial Harbour and many more. Mr. Gopalan has been a Bahrain resident since 1981. With a phenomenal contribution to social causes and patronage of cultural and sporting events, Mr. Gopalan has been instrumental in building houses for the needy, providing educational assistance to schools and individuals. Chairman and Managing Director of BKG Holding Bahrain and the same at Qatar Engineering Laboratories, he is also the Director at Qatar Lagoon, Chairman Quality Piling and Construction Company Bahrain, Director 4pm News, the Evening Daily from Bahrain, Director CADS Architectural Consultant Company Trivandrum, and last but not the least, the Director to Sri Narayana Institute of Medical Science in Cochin. Mr. Gopalan is an Associate Member of Institution of Civil Engineers, Member of Society of Engineers India, Life Member of Bahrain Society of Engineers, and also a Member of Institution of Civil Engineers in the UK. From the village of Kuttur, Tiruvalla in Kerala, the young boy who decided to be a doctor. Destiny placed him in the land of the two holy mosques and from there across the causeway. Mr. Gopalan has come a long way, not as a doctor, but as an engineer par excellence. Joining us this evening on BIZ Talk from BMC Global Life, Baburajan Gopalan. A man who has been on the forefront of humanitarian causes, an entrepreneur, philanthropist, one of the most reputed geotechnical consultants in the Gulf region, and someone to whom he holds a credit of major projects, working with experience and expertise in major projects like the King Fahd Causeway, the Aluminium Bahrain Alba, and the Bahrain Financial Towers. Baburajan Gopalan, joining us this week on BIZ Talk, brought to you by BMC Global Life. Good evening, sir, and welcome to BIZ Talk. Mr. Gopalan is a very timely guest on this episode of BIZ Talk, which brings to us success stories of business leaders. And as we all know, he is the winner of the prestigious Indian award, the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman of this year. Well, that's a very prestigious award given to Indian diaspora abroad for their community services. And that's what precisely brings you with us this evening. And congratulations from the entire team of BMC Global Life on this very meritorious achievement. Welcome to the show once again. And when we start this chat show, let me begin with this one question. What is Bahrain's role in molding Baburajan, the person, the professional, and now the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman awardee?
That's a very interesting question. First of all, thank you all for me being here and attending this particular interview with you, which I'm very happy. Yeah, coming back to that one, before that I would like to say a little bit about it. Of course, since I was a student in the engineering college, which is civil is my subject, so geotechnical is part of it, foundation engineering and geotechnical. So I came to Saudi Arabia in end of 1979 and started with a firm called Al-Houthi Stangers, Harry Stangers being the parent company, which was established in UK in the early 1826. First in the world, you can say, in the field of testing, inspection services, and geotechnical. So that, of course, is another reason why I came to Saudi Arabia. But anyway, I joined there, and I had some, of course, as I said, my passion was in the geotechnical and foundation engineering. And there I had to work with one Dr. MR.K.G.BABURAJAN, who was a pioneer in the field of geotechnical and foundation engineering. I had very good, even though it was a short term, that was my first field, real work in the field, even though I have done certain certain work in the foundation and geotechnical during my studentship in Kuttipuram, and then the 3 bridges connecting between Changanasheri and Aleppi, which is Kidangara, Pallathurthi, and what is the other one?
I'm sorry, sir.
No, Kidangara, Pallathurthi, Nedumudi. Nedumudi. Okay. Because that was in the early stages when they were planning the bridges, they had a lot of problem with the soil being very clay and all. So the team of Toronto Engineering College professors and lecturers of the foundation engineering and geotech, I had an opportunity to join with them. So that was my first. Then coming back to Saudi, under Dr. MR.K.G.BABURAJAN, I refreshed my foundation engineering. And then what happened is, at that time, 1980, the causeway, Saudi-Bahrain causeway, which is linking between Saudi Arabia and Bahrain, which is about 27 kilometers in the sea alone, that was planned. And Al-Otis Tanker, being the company registered in Saudi Arabia, got the contract for doing all the geotechnical, marine survey, and associate things. So that is how I end up in Bahrain, beginning of 1980. So I was closely associated with that project, not only in the geotechnical, then quality control and quality assurance, choosing the right material for the very aggressive marine environment, because the bridge is going through the sea waters. So there are a lot of materials were tried to choose the final, which is the most suitable material for the construction, because the bridges generally are designed for a lifespan of around 100 years. So naturally the material, the workmanship, the aspects of construction, everything should be suitable so that we can get the full life of the structure. So that was my first project, you can say, in Bahrain, in this field. So being a very fresh engineer, to be involved with such a mega project really was something which you can never dream in anywhere else, I would say. Even in India, you can never dream of such a junior engineer to be in charge of this prestigious and mega project.
Major project, yes.
Major project, it is millions of. And that too, working with all the Europeans. That's another thing. The contractor was Bellasnidam from Netherlands, consultants was from Denmark, and the contractors and the consultants, project managers. So it was mainly a European.
And I'm sure you must have gathered a massive experience and expertise from such a wide range.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. That is what happened. So that was
kind of laid a foundation to your career.
That was the main thing. Obviously, the foundations, the geotechnical aspect is the most important thing in any civil engineering structure, because ultimately the whole load of the structure has to be transferred to the ground through the foundation. So I was closely associated with that and gave a lot of exposure, you can say, a lot of experience in 4 or 5 years, which none of the engineers in India can get that sort of in such a short span. So from there on, I moved on. As you'll be knowing, in those days, Bahrain, there was not too many buildings, high-rise buildings. It was not developed to that. So even our sea line was presently this Gulf Hotel.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the sea
border
line.
was, yeah.
And Mina, Manama, anything, Manama area, north of that, it was sea. So in those days, there was also hardly any developments in Bahrain. So since then, all these major projects, I would say, like airport expansion, in those days itself, there was an airport first phase of expansion. Then going back to the high-rise buildings like World Trade Center, Financial Harbor, Almoj Tower, city centers, then Lulu Abraj,
the three towers. Yeah.
Three towers. Then the sea flyover.
Okay.
Then Sheikh Isa Bridge. Which
So
is
you walked with Bahrain to its development.
Yes, Sheikh Isa
great.
Bridge,
Yeah.
then Sheikh Khalifa Bridge, the Sheikh Khalifa Port,
Okay.
Asri dry dock developments,
Okay.
then Sitra bridges, because some of them I am closely involved with the design of the foundation, and then under the Bahrain Foundation and construction, we have done the piling of most of these structures. So basically what I'm saying is the whole structure is resting on piles designed and constructed by me as a lead team member. For, similarly, this Four Seasons hotels.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we are flying, for example, when I'm flying from overseas, when I'm landing,
Okay.
I can see that all these major structures I am closely involved, and where my signature is there in this geotechnical.
What a beautiful feeling, isn't it?
Sitra bridges. Then we can say the lot of reclamation work has happened in these years. In the past 40 years, I will say, in those days there was no reclamation. So even the Seaf area, it was sea. And Jufair area, I used to go for fishing in the boat in those areas.
Okay.
And when you go up to the other side of it, Hid area, for example, the only road was from the airport to the dry dock.
All right.
So if you look at all the others, both sides were sea. And then only they have reclaimed that when power station was built. Then GIC, presently there is a steel pelletizing plant.
Yeah.
That was constructed in those days. So these are all on reclaimed land.
Right.
So anything. So you can see that there was hardly any development, but I have grown with those development. I am very proud to say that I have done a major role for the development of Bahrain since for the past 41 years.
Right.
Going back to Alba, Port Line 3, because in those days there were only 2 port lines.
I think now we have up to
Now
6.
6.
Yeah.
So Port Line 3, 4, 5, 6. All the projects I have done the geotechnical and the quality control of those. So basically what I'm saying is we can see that the quality of construction and the quality control and quality assurance that is available in Middle East, you cannot compare with what we have in India.
Yes.
See, for example, in Kochi, which is one of the major city in Kerala, the Palarivattam Bridge, it was constructed and 1 year we had to demolish it.
Yes.
You cannot see such a thing happening in this part of the world
Okay.
because of these reasons.
The commitment to quality.
That's right, quality and the geotechnical aspects as well. Because one has to know what to do properly, because it's not that our engineers are not capable. The problem there, what happens is our engineers, they join PWD or any of the organizations, and some of them, my classmates for example, they join PWD, and I know a particular project, it is our that legislative complex.
The complex. Okay.
I think that took about 16, 17 years to complete.
Okay.
It's a pure building.
Right.
So some of the engineer, my classmates who has joined there, 17 years his exposure is in that project. So how can you expect
growth?
proper
Professional
experience,
growth.
competence I'm talking about. Whereas that building should have been completed in 2 years, 2.5 years in Bahrain. So the cost escalation, how much money is being wasted, and the utility of the building. So what happens is generally civil engineering structures are designed, say, for 50 years.
Yeah.
So generally, I'm not talking about the bridges and all, which is maybe 100 years, but civil building.
Right.
So if the foundation is lying there and the building is there for 17 years, how much percentage of the life is gone? So it is a waste of money. And the building utility is not there. Escalation is there. So if you plan something for 5 crores now, maybe it will go to 25, 30 crores when it is finished. So there is no proper management planning in our system. But by coming back to the Bahrain situation, that is not the case. Once you give a project to a contractor, he is obliged to finish it in whatever time, you are, see this Saudi Bahrain Causeway, it took only, actual construction started in 82, 86 December it was opened.
So it's like 4 years.
So imagine, if that situation in India, how long it will take. So that sort of things. So I would say that for me to be in this level, Bahrain has contributed entirely, I would say, not partially.
Right.
Yes.
That was a beautiful walk through your experience in Bahrain. And indeed, the answer to that question in itself is a textbook, because you led us through the development of Bahrain when you cited all those towering landscapes, which you said, you used the word your signature. It's made a matter of pride.
I mean, that's obviously geotechnical is the field, and we have to give a report saying, yes, this much load can be taken by this type of foundation. So that is the basis. So the signature of that is very important.
Right.
Similarly, all the power stations in Bahrain,
almost
all the power stations, water desalination plants. So, I was involved with most of this development. Now, we are going to inaugurate the Bahrain airport terminal building.
The new airport.
I have done the foundation, geotechnical and survey of that.
Great.
So, it gives me a lot of pride when you are going around to see that
and
this
that
kind of
pride is reflecting on each of us as well as Malayalis, as Indians. Indeed, we are proud. And to the viewers who just joined us, this is BIZ Talk from BMC Global Life. And this evening, we have with us Baburajan Gopalan, the Pravasi Award winner of this year. And he is a long-term resident and chairman and managing director for BKG Holdings and Qatar Engineering Laboratories.
NEC Remit. Send money online to India. Credit in seconds with great rates. Download NEC Remit app now.
Welcome back to BIZ Talk from BMC Global Live, and we have with us this evening Baburajan Gopalan, the winner of Pravasi Bhardiya Saman of this year. So let me bring you back once again to this very prestigious award. Every award comes with a responsibility, or it adds to the responsibility, right? And especially Pravasi Bhardiya Saman is an award which is given to Indian diaspora abroad for their community service. right? What is your opinion about such awards, the gravity or the importance of such awards?
Yes, coming back that one, I would say that is very encouraging for the one who is doing that, and it is an encouragement for the forthcoming people to do such things,
Yes.
which is very important, because obviously, we are here as a, basically to have a good living as well, and we are very well when compared to lot of unfortunate people in our country.
Correct.
So since we get that, God has given that opportunity, put it that way. So it is my thinking, of course, that we should share that with the less unfortunate ones, whatever we can. So that, it's not that we can do this to everybody, but at least for some. So if everybody thinks in that way, that will bring our, the people's life in our country also. It's not, I'm talking that, it should be only financially.
Yes.
But, lot of other works can be carried out to bring their, whatever is the problems, go to the hospital, maybe talk to them, see what their necessity is, and then, you can contact the people who is able to help in such things, maybe medical things, get the help of the doctors, maybe any other things. Things like that. What I'm saying is to help the others.
Right.
So that this sort of, I would say that this prestigious award naturally gives the incentives for those coming up to do such things. So it is a great recognition of what we are doing. Maybe it is professional, maybe it is social commitments, maybe it is philanthropic activities, whatever it be. So it is the concept is very good for people to do such things who is capable, put it that way. So that is what I would say that,
Yeah, I cannot but agree more with you. People tend to limit these services financially, but I think it's beyond. It's a vast umbrella. Community service is a vast umbrella.
Yes.
As you rightly said, even assisting a person to the hospital can be a service, isn't it? Yeah, good. Good answer, sir. And if I may ask you, I have understood from the answer for my first question, engineering is your passion. I could see that when you were speaking. But I'm sure there is a heart lying somewhere in this community service. Otherwise, you wouldn't be sitting on this seat today with this prestigious award to your merit. Where did it all start? And how did you pick on this aspect of community service? Everybody can do service, but then, taking that to heart and following it as along with your profession or other engagements, and as you said, to people, the needy. Where did it start?
First of all, I would say that when I was, growing, obviously, as a student, engineering was not my passion.
Okay.
I started after the SLC in those days, so my passion was to become a doctor.
Okay,
put it that way.
It's you dreamt to be a doctor.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was I took the second group, which is biology.
Biology, yeah.
Physics and chemistry as the so. Obviously, in those days, it is only based on the marks wise.
Okay.
And during the pre-degree stage, I lost it by some 20 or 21 marks.
Okay.
So I couldn't join the
that
medicine.
Must have been a heartbreaking time, right?
Yeah, it was. For example, I will say Mr. K.G.BABURAJAN.
Okay.
Who is the Infosys.
Infosys.
We were classmates,
okay.
batchmates. In those days, it was intermediate college, arts college. He lost by few marks, medicine.
Okay.
Obviously, we were all sad in those days, as you'll be knowing, students. Yeah. That is what we wanted.
Okay.
But God has a different plan for us.
Yeah. Okay.
So then both of us, he joined physics BSc in University College. I joined for example. I'm just saying, chemistry. In
the same college,
University College,
okay.
Yes. So we had to start studying maths.
Okay.
Of course, I was very good in maths.
Okay.
But even though I wanted the other profession.
Yes.
But after doing the BSc, then I thought, okay, forget about medicine. And in fact, I joined for the MSc chemistry as well. I was staying with my uncle, Gopalan, and my auntie, Vishalakshi.
Okay.
She retired as additional secretary in Secretariat, and my uncle, he was the headmaster of Attakulangara High School.
High school? Okay.
Yeah. So obviously I was born in Tiruvalla, Kuttur, as I said to you.
Okay.
My school education was in my village.
Tiruvalla,
Kuttur. Very basic first school, primary school was in, there is a school in Kuttur itself, Malay, we call it Malay school. Okay. And then it was UP school. In those days, government school was up to UP.
Yeah, the upper primary.
Upper primary. So I completed from there. Then I did my 8th and 9th. Yeah, 8th and 9th and 10th in SNV school, Tirumalapuram.
Okay.
So that was my school education. So with that one, then higher studies, when it came, I joined my uncle and all in Trivandrum. And with intermediate college first year, and second year it became Government Arts College. So that is how it started. So after completing the BSc, when I joined MSc, my uncle said, why couldn't you join for engineering? I mean, I'm just saying that is one of the decisions I have.
Point, yeah.
Yes, that is how I started with engineering. And obviously, I did very well in engineering, and from there only I shifted to engineering. So that is my...
Okay. What a humble reminiscing. I'm sure if your uncle is watching.
Uncle and of course my father,
yes.
Divagaran, and my mother, K.K. Bharati. Of course,
yeah.
They gave me the basic things in the school, and then I was with my uncle. My uncle and auntie both are no more.
Oh, okay.
My father is no more.
Okay.
My mother is there in Kuttur.
So I'm sure there is tremendous blessings being showered upon the heavens this evening, because they would be happy to see you.
Yeah, of course.
From where to where. That one word of asking you to join for engineering, and here you have a passionate engineer sitting with.
That's right. Yeah, that is from where it started and came up to this sort of level.
Yes, but if you would like to tell us about your commitment to social service or community service.
Coming back to that, of course, where I was born and those things, it is a village. I see a lot of people, poor people, put it that way, and even in Trivandrum, who cannot afford even for their food itself. So in those days onwards, obviously, even my uncle, my father, all, they just, they are very helpful to the others. And my grandfather, my mother's father, he used to have a lot of cultivation in Kuttur in those days. And I see all these workers coming. He gives them food early morning, lunch time, even dinner time. And during the harvest time, they gather all these paddies and then come to a kalam, we call it kalam. They do all these folk songs. And, he used to give all this food, everything to these people, maybe 40, 50 of them or even more. So I have seen that how my grandfather used to do. And then onwards, of course, somehow it develops in me. That time onwards, I would say that in those days itself. So it is not that something...
charity begins at home, right?
Yeah, that is what exactly happened. And then after coming here, I joined in Central PWD in Bombay. That was my first posting.
All right.
And then I didn't like it, put it that way, because even the seniors, senior engineers, they don't want the juniors to be there, because they come at maybe 12 o'clock, they go back 1:30. So we being fresh from the university, we don't want to do those sort of things. So they get annoyed if you guys are sitting there and they cannot go. So, so that situation, so I decided, so it was central government job, Central PWD. So I think 4 or 5 months I just finished, and then joined Tata Consultancy and all. But during that time, I came to Saudi Arabia with totally unexpected, put it that way.
Okay.
So it was, if you want, obviously I said a little bit about it, how it happened.
Yeah, okay.
While I was with Tata Consultancy, and I was on a project with Tata Electric, which is Trombay. It is a 500 megawatts power station.
Okay.
It is in the offshore area, the piling, and also that is, I got in the piling also in those foundations, basically in the sea. So as part of it, there was some tender opening ceremony in Neriman Point. So I had a friend, Mohan, but I have not seen him since then, put it that way. He is from Kunnangulam. He is from Palkad Engineering College, mechanical engineer. So we went, both of us went for a tender opening. And then what happened is, we went, in Bombay, in those days itself, the public transport system is such that the train and all is so crowded.
Yes.
In those days I'm talking
Even
about.
today.
So,
I don't think it has changed.
Yeah. So we reached there almost 2 hours earlier.
Okay.
So he had his Times of India newspaper. Yeah.
Okay.
We went to the building where the tender opening. We had 2 hours. So he just went to the newspaper and said, there is an interview here for Saudi Arabia for civil engineers.
Okay.
I was not, not at all interested. He said, no, why can't you just attend? It's just, that is how it started. Okay, I thought, why not? Because there is too much time. So I went for the interview. I didn't have anything. I'm not prepared or anything like that. Just went. So there was one Dr. A.P.K. Tate from UK, working for Harris Tankers, as I said, the parent company in UK. He took the interview. Of course, it is all technical. And he said, I want you to join us in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
I said, I don't have any passport. So, I never had dreamed of going outside, put it that way. So he said, no, I will wait for whatever you can arrange your passports, everything. So naturally what happened is the parents and my uncle said, why you want to go? You have a good job here, this and that. I said, anyway, in those days to travel from Bombay to Trivandrum, it's almost like 38, 40 hours. I said, I can be, reach in Saudi Arabia maybe 4 or 5 hours. So why not? So I was keen, tempted to take that challenge, put it that way, even though the families, of course, were no need for that, to go for some other exams and he can be here in the government service. Anyway, bottom line, that is how I took the passport and ended up in Saudi. That was my journey, put it that way.
Yeah. From the tiny village of Kuttur in Kerala's Tiruvalla and over to its state capital Trivandrum, and from there, destiny took Mr. Gopalan to Saudi Arabia. And here we have him with us in Bahrain this evening, the prestigious Pravasi Bharatiya Samman awardee for this year. Baburajan Gopalan joining us on BIZ Talk from BMC Global Life. So, well, it's really interesting to hear your transition from, as I said, from Kuttur to Trivandrum to Saudi to Bahrain, and I'm sure you've led a very busy life with all this passion and love for engineering and associated with all these projects. I'm sure there is a family with you, which have been with you thick and thin, supporting you, tracing through these years. Can you tell us about your family?
Yes, as I said, my parents.
Yes, you did mention about your parents and your uncle, but then I'm sure your wife, your children.
Yeah, my wife is Dilrani Gopal. She's an architect.
Okay.
She's also from Trivandrum Engineering College.
Okay.
And then I have 2 children.
If I may ask you, did you meet in the engineering college?
No. Okay. She was there when I was in the final year, but
you didn't know each other.
We didn't know each other.
All right.
No, not at all.
Right.
And I have 2 children. The elder one is my son, Rajat Babu, Baburaj. He took his degree in engineering civil from BMS Bangalore, and then he took his masters from Birmingham, UK, in geotechnical engineering.
Okay.
So he's
So
following
everybody
my.
is following your footsteps.
Yeah, he works. He runs our business in Qatar.
Okay.
In our.
You mean the Qatar engineering?
Qatar engineering. Our headquarters is in Qatar.
Okay. Yeah.
Basically,
Okay, yeah.
So he takes care of that, and he is into the business.
Okay.
And he was here, of course,
Yeah.
And my daughter, Dr. Ramya Baburaj, she did her MBBS from Chennai, Porur Ramachandra, and took her MD in radiology, again from Ramachandra. She was working with Apollo Hospital.
Okay.
And that is my children. And then coming back to my daughter-in-law, she is Dr. Aishwarya.
Okay.
She is from Mavelikara, but she was born and brought up in Bombay.
Okay.
MD in dermatology.
Okay.
In Chennai. And I have my elder granddaughter.
Okay.
She is Ira.
All right.
Ira Baburaj. She is now going to be 3 years in April.
Okay.
April 6th.
Okay.
And my son-in-law, my daughter's
husband,
he's Dr. Abin.
Okay.
He's a pediatrician and neonatal, taking care of the neonatal. He's working in Prime Hospital in Dubai.
Okay.
So my daughter, she's there now. She's expecting her babies.
Okay.
Put it that way, it's twin.
Oh, it's twins? Okay. So it's going to be twin joy.
That's right, in a few months' time.
Okay, okay. Great.
So she is there now. That is my immediate family.
So 2021 really seems to be lucky for you, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
it came with this joy and then double joy waiting.
Yeah, that's right.
Interesting.
That's right. So
I'm glad to see that you have engineers and doctors in your family.
Yeah, then my brother, coming back to that, parents I have mentioned. My elder brother, he's Dr. Ravi Kumar.
Okay.
He's, you can say, he was the principal of Pharmacy College in Medical College, Trivandrum.
Okay.
And then he was the principal and dean of the Amarda Pharmacy College, and in Calicut Medical College also. So he is into that. And I have two sisters.
Okay.
I am the second one. And my sisters, one is in Kuttur itself with my mother, and the other is in Koilon. So that's my family.
Okay, that's a beautiful family. I had cut you in between. Just to tell you this, you had that passion or ambition to become a doctor. I see so many doctors in your family, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your daughter, your son-in-law, your brother. So do you find see a fulfillment when you see them, or you're still missing being a doctor, basically?
No, let me mention something about that.
Okay.
So once, my daughter, she did her IB from Bangalore, TISB. So she was in the process of choosing her profession.
Okay.
So once I told her, I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
Then she said, okay, now I want to be. So she just worked for it, and that's how she became a doctor.
So she fulfilled your ambition.
That's right.
That's beautiful.
So that's right.
Right.
So, I'm very happy for that.
Right. We are also happy for that beautiful family out there, from your mother to your family, like wife, children. A hi from BMC Group to all of you out there, and I'm sure you're all very proud, and we are equally proud, sir.
Thank you very much.
And joining us this week on BIZ Talk is Baburajan Gopalan, Chairman and Managing Director of BKG Holding. Welcome back to BIZ Talk from BMC Global. And we have with us this evening Baburajan Gopalan. Sir, as we continue the talk, you know,
Yes.
these days it's a norm. No talk can be complete without a reference to one thing, and that is the pandemic, COVID-19. And COVID-19, the year 2020, we learned a lot of things this year. Many things were redefined. How do you think community service changed its definition in 2020? And with this big award, which is bringing more responsibility on you, how do you plan to take forward your activities post-COVID days?
No, as you will be knowing, pandemic or the COVID, it has turned
Yes.
it's affected
Yes.
every human being on earth.
Correct.
From the American president down to whoever you can define.
Yes.
So there isn't anybody who is not being affected by this, one way or
Define the equality of human
yes,
beings.
one way or
across
the
board. Yes.
other. Definitely everybody was affected. But even in Middle East or in India itself, you know, lot of people, their life has been totally, you can say, not damaged,
Affected, or
affected,
impacted, yes.
affected by this one in various ways. Some may be financially. If there are a lot of people who cannot even afford to buy the food for the houses because they lost lot of jobs, and the job opportunities has come down. Production factories has been affected. Industries, hotel industry, media industry itself, media, and travel industry.
Yes.
You know, all this, these are affected by this particular epidemic. So naturally, I would say that, you know, people who can be help to the society, they should come forward and try to help those. You know, as I said earlier, it is not that there are people who can contribute that, but they cannot just go and give this to the poor people, you know, that you don't expect. So there should be community services where they can approach these people and see how they can, for example, lot of people has to be, you know, wanted to go back to their countries in the early days.
Yes.
But they cannot afford even to buy the tickets. So, I mean, you know, it is not to say that, you know, I have help, but obviously I have helped almost 100 tickets given to the people. It is not just to, you know, but I'm just saying,
Yes.
like that, if the people who can afford, they do that, obviously their life will be more, you can say more peaceful or more, you know, less troublesome, put it that way. Similarly, there are a lot of families, children, all get affected by this particular one. So the community service is very important to at least to bring the life of that to certain basic level, I would say.
Right.
I mean, naturally, you know, we being fortunate in certain way, our contribution to that is very important. You know, that's what I would say in that particular aspect.
I think, yeah, 2020 taught us many lessons, and
Yes,
one lesson is that. Like,
that and the equality, whether you have whatever it be.
Yes.
We have
to share, isn't it?
Yes, and share, and you know, it is there is no discrimination for corona to go to anyone.
Yes.
Including from the President of USA, Prime Minister of UK.
Yes.
I mean, so you know, this sort of things. Obviously, the main thing is for us to be safe and have
Healthy,
you know. But as I said, you know, a lot of people have lost their jobs. They don't have means to survive. So, you know, that way I would say that our Bahrain Indian community and Bahrain government has contributed a lot for the bringing the life of the people to a certain level. You know, we should appreciate the rulers and the government of Bahrain. There is no discrimination between nationals or expats.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, we have to appreciate what they are doing for our community.
Sorry to cut you, sir. For that matter, for people like you, even to come forward and serve, there should be a certain amount of freedom in a country like Bahrain.
That's right.
And I think We owe it to those
I mean,
great
that's what I
rulers.
was saying. Whether it is professional or whether it's charity, they don't discriminate based on the religion or
Even
anything.
the vaccines. I think we are touching close to 100,000 people vaccinated
That's
in the
right.
country, and it's
That's
free of
right.
cost
That's right.
to both citizens and residents. Yes.
Especially, I would say that the health ministry is doing a very good service.
Brilliant job, yes.
And because of that, we are more peaceful in Bahrain.
Correct.
I would say yes. And naturally, this sort of things has to be transferred and see what we can do to our human beings or our fellow citizens in India as well, irrespective of their states, their culture, whatever it is, human beings. So whatever we can is we should do that. And this sort of things, basically the way the Indian government is doing and appreciating, we get more we will be more responsible to that sort of things on community service as well.
Great. As we move to the last segment of BIZ Talk this week, we take a short break with Baburajan Gopalan. Sir, we just discussed about COVID-19, and I think we must not ignore the certain blessings of COVID, advantages of COVID. I think one of them is what we are doing now, virtual platforms, reaching out to people. What is your opinion or observation about platforms like BMC Global Media?
No, definitely this is a very good service to the community, because you are getting this news and all the details to the outside worldwide, which otherwise obviously it cannot just go transmit in such a short time.
Right.
So that is, I would say, it is a blessing of the COVID, because you are forced to do that.
Yes.
And now people has adjusted to certain level.
The new norm.
New norms, even the education wise, even the work wise, there are a lot of works which they could do it from the house itself. They find that it is much more efficient, because the people need not travel 2 hours.
People reduce traveling a lot.
And naturally that goes with the air pollution, all the other environmental aspects, which is very, the water is getting cleaner.
Oh, the nature
the air is getting more purified. So, as I said, earlier, even Himalayas could be seen maybe 300, 400 kilometers away from there, which nobody could see that even for 50 kilometers.
Correct,
so, naturally that shows that. So, maybe it is God's way of cleaning up the environment and the people.
Right.
Obviously, the people also, they think that they are everything, but Corona, there is no discrimination.
Correct.
From the President of United States to the lowest people on the street, for example. So there is no discrimination, it can catch anybody, which we have seen.
Indeed.
So naturally, that has brought, if the people are thinking in a proper way, yes, there is a certain kind of equality was
established.
Established. I would say this has done certain good things, but of course, we don't want people to suffer. But and there is no way we have.
Sometimes we have to pay some cost.
That's right. Yeah. That is right. So What you are doing is a great job as far as I'm concerned. No, I'm not a media person, but I'm sure this sort of, it has definitely formed because of this corona's influence, I would say.
Thank you very much for those nice words. Indeed, we at the BMC Global Media, we are also proud to have you with us this evening. And as we come to the close of yet another episode of BMC Global Media's BIZ Talk, Success Stories of Business Leaders, sir, I would go into my final question.
Sure.
As we have been talking, and as I heard, you have been engaged with a number of major projects in Bahrain, right from the 80s until the latest of the airport, the new airport, isn't it? And it was beautiful, a reference that you said when you land in Bahrain to see those skyscrapers, which has a signature of yours on it. I'm sure it's indeed a proud moment,
Definitely,
isn't it?
yeah.
Can you tell us, sorry?
Being an Indian.
Yes, being an Indian, yes.
To
and
be
in this
part of
the
this
world. Yes,
developments of Bahrain.
Yes.
For the past 40 years, yes, it is a very prestigious and for me, yeah, that's right.
So, would you be able to share with us something, one thing or certain thing which you remember from all these experiences of yours while getting involved and engaged in these huge constructions? Is there anything that you would like to share which the audience would love to hear? Something unique, something different.
I mean, yes, coming back to that, obviously, nowadays all the GCC countries, they have a protocol. Most of the buildings, whether it is high-rise or low-rise, you have to carry out a geotechnical site investigation so you know where you are going to build it. But in early days, that was not mandatory.
Okay.
So the engineers normally, they just prepare the drawings, even foundation drawings based on certain assumptions and design the foundation and give to the contractor to build it. Just an example I'm saying, which is obviously, which was very interesting for me, which is in Tubli area.
Okay.
You know the Tubli,
yes,
opposite to the American embassy.
Okay.
That area was all sea earlier. It is all reclaimed land.
Okay, the Tubli Bay area.
Yeah, Tubli Bay and the side, which is developed now.
Okay.
In early days, there was only one road. It's a single lane road.
Okay.
In the now you can see that is a highway. On that side, a lot of buildings were being constructed. So one particular building, obviously, very capable consultants on the island. I don't want to mention anything, names of course. They asked the contractor to give the drawings, everything, and to build on that. So the contractor, what he did is, as per the drawing, he just excavated the top 1.5 meters material and put some fill material and compact it and start building. So the foundation start coming up. The first floor is finished. The second floor is coming. The engineers saw that one of the column, the front column, is moving up and down. Like, there is a movement.
Okay.
So he thought, there is something wrong. So he came to me, basically, and said, I have this particular problem. We don't know what is happening. And the whole work is supervised by qualified proper engineers, don't forget. And obviously, we send out, I send my team to carry out, there is something called boreholes. You drill the ground and see what is the condition beneath. That is the site investigation where you decide what type of foundation to be given, whether the soil has to be improved to take that load and transfer to the ground, all these things. So when the people went there, start drilling, after about half meter, 1 meter, the driller said, no, it's not penetrating, so it seems there is some metal or something.
Okay.
So what happened is, this column which is cast next to that, obviously that was moving basically. So then I said, okay, let us just excavate and see what is happening. Then they found that the whole column is resting on top of an old car.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Old car, which was left there, and they put some fill material on top of that, the reclamation process.
Okay.
And the
You mean a full car and no
yeah, full
body
car.
of the car?
Body of the car was left in place,
Okay.
and then they filled on top, and then start constructing on top of that. So as the load started coming into the column,
The balance was tilting.
yeah, it started moving around, like a ghost coming and doing something, So basically that is what happened, and then naturally we have to rectify.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is anything in the subsoil, in the foundation,
Okay.
to do it at first, it is very less expensive. But to rectify that, it may cost a lot of money and time. So this is a just classic example why we should do certain studies before you build, even if it is house.
Great. Okay.
I would say that. I mean, that's one of. Then there are buildings which, again, they don't do the proper investigation, start building, and it is tilting. It's settling, differential settlement. So, these are too many cases. Obviously, these things, when it goes to the court, there are a lot of cases where the court appoints us as a technical expert to do the investigation and prepare a report.
Okay.
So that based on that, the judge can decide who is at fault.
Okay.
So I have been doing that for the past almost 35, 40 years,
Okay.
which is quite challenging, and sometimes obviously for cross-examination I have to go to the court.
Okay.
Naturally it will happen. I mean, these are all part of my
taking
experience.
Back to the car episode, I think that's a beautiful way to close this great chat show with Baburajan Gopalan, the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman awardee of this year. That was great philosophy which was rendered to us from this veteran engineer with so much of experience and expertise as to how we should not ignore simple things so that we avoid complications in the future. There is a great philosophy in what you said just now, beyond engineering. And I think that is the take back from this evening's talk from this elegant, soft-spoken, humble gentleman, Mr. Gopalan. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us this evening on BIZ Talk from BMC Global Live.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. It was quite interesting, and I'm very glad to spend such time with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that was Pravasi Bharatiya Samman awardee of 2021, Baburajan Gopalan, joining us on yet another episode of BIZ Talk from BMC Global Live. Until we meet next week with another businessman, this is me, Raji Unikrishnan, signing off. Good night. To present a small token of appreciation, may I now call upon the BMC team, the leaders of the BMC, Chairman and Managing Director Francis Kaidaratha, Operations Director Shirley Anthony, and Administration Director Sudhi Puthanvelikara to the stage, please.